What if the beginning of everything wasn't a bang? What if the universe didn't explode into existence, but breathed? A slow exhale of light from somewhere beyond time. A ripple, not a roar. A silent bloom, not a detonation. What if the first moment wasn't loud, but lonely? What if the cosmos was not born from chaos, but from release? Before there was light, before atoms, before gravity ever curled space into spirals, there may have been a doorway. A threshold through which something passed, not violently, but inevitably. A breath before breath. A light before light. A silence, carrying the weight of everything yet to come. We call it the Big Bang, but some scientists quietly, courageously wonder if what we call the beginning was actually an ending, or more precisely a transformation, because there's a strange idea hiding in the equations of the universe. An idea that flips everything we think we know inside out. An idea called the white hole. Not long ago, black holes were just theory ghosts hiding in math. Today, we've seen their shadows, heard their song in the trembling of space-time, but their mirror image, their perfect inverse, still hides in the realm of possibility. The white hole, where black holes devour, white holes expel. Where black holes drag time inward, white holes pour it outward. If one is a cosmic sink, the other a celestial fountain. The mathematics of general relativity, Einstein's great gift, doesn't just permit this symmetry, it insists on it. For every curve of space that folds in on itself, there is another that unfolds. The equations are like mirrors, and in one of those reflections lies a door that only opens out. But what does that mean? What is a white hole? Imagine it, a region of space from which nothing, no matter, no light, no information can enter, but from which matter and light can emerge. A place that cannot be touched, only witnessed. A place that seems to remember something we've never seen. Unlike a black hole which is born from death, a white hole has no past, only a future. It arrives, fully formed. It erupts, not from within the universe, but into it. It's as if reality is pouring in from somewhere else. Someone else. And that's where it gets even stranger, because some physicists now wonder, what if our entire universe is the inside of a white hole? What if what we call the Big Bang, that great hot eruption 13.8 billion years ago, wasn't the birth of everything from nothing, but the unfolding of something that fell into something else? A rebound, a bounce, a cosmic inhalation becoming an exhalation. One world ending, giving birth to another. In loop quantum gravity, a radical attempt to unify the smooth fabric of space with the jittering world of particles. Singularities disappear. They're replaced with transitions, bounces, turns, and in this framework, when a black hole collapses, it does not remain frozen forever. Instead, it transforms into a white hole. Over vast, incomprehensible time, the idea is bold and breathtaking that what we call a black hole may be the first half of a heartbeat, and a white hole the second. That death and birth are not opposites but partners in the dance of eternity. So let us imagine a universe long before ours. Vast, bright, teeming with galaxies. A universe that ran its course, expanded, aged, and eventually fell inward. Stars collapsing. Galaxies coalescing. Everything pulling toward some final moment. Until with unbearable density, it folds in upon itself, becomes a black hole. And on the other side of that collapse, something happens. Not a bang, but a bloom. The gravitational prison becomes a cradle. And in a moment beyond time, our universe emerges. As a white hole, not from nothing, but from something else. It is an idea that bridges the mathematical with the mythical, the scientific with the spiritual. Because the deeper we go, the more we realize this isn't just about what happened. It's about what it means to happen. What does it mean for time to have a beginning? What does it mean for space to not always have existed? What does it mean to be? Ancient traditions spoke of cycles, of the breath of God inhaling and exhaling worlds. Of the phoenix, rising from its own ashes, of yugas, kalpas, eons, each one a universe, born, dying, and born again. Perhaps in our equations we are rediscovering what mystics once intuited, that the cosmos may remember that time itself may not be a straight line but a loop, a wheel, a pulse, and yet science demands humility. We must ask, where is the evidence? White holes, to date, remain unobserved. We have seen the shadows of black holes. We have heard the whispers of gravity's trembling, but we have never seen a white hole erupt. Some physicists believe they are nothing more than mathematical curiosities, elegant, yes, but unphysical. Others suggest they could be hiding in plain sight, that some gamma ray bursts, sudden, mysterious explosions of light, could be white holes in disguise, that the cosmic, microwave background that ancient light left over from the Big Bang could carry imprints of a white hole's geometry. The search continues. And with each unanswered question, the wonder deepens. What is time? Not the ticking of a clock, but the very fabric of causality. If black holes warp time so that it freezes at the edge of their event horizons, could white holes do the opposite? Could they spill time into being? Could they be time's beginning, not in a linear sense, but in a dimensional one? Some theorists even suggest a universe made of CPT, symmetry, charge, parity, and time all flipped, a mirror universe, where time flows backward from our perspective. And if so, could a white hole be not just an object, but a reversal? An inverted eye, through which another cosmos peers? And if the universe came from a white hole, what came before? Was it another cosmos? Or something stranger, something outside of time altogether? We don't know. We may never know. But perhaps the point is not to know. Perhaps the point is to wonder. To ask. To dream. Because we are not just atoms and equations. We are consciousness, awareness, curiosity. We are the universe, asking itself what it is. There's a beauty in not knowing. In the silence that follows a question too vast for words, because in that silence, something awakens. Something ancient, something sacred. We look up at the night sky and see stars, but behind those stars lies the memory of something that may not have exploded but unfolded. The memory of a moment when time itself was born, the breath before breath, the light before light, the mystery behind everything. Maybe the universe was born in fire. Maybe it was born in silence. Maybe it wasn't born at all but revealed, unfolded like a flower from the ash of another. Maybe it came not from the outside, but from within. And maybe, just maybe, the question isn't where the universe came from, but why it gave rise to beings like us. To wonder it all. If black holes are the most terrifying creatures in the cosmic zoo, then their mirror twins are the most elusive. The white hole, a concept not conjured by dreams or myth, but by the raw, unyielding logic of mathematics. Born not from imagination, but from the deep geometry of spacetime itself. To understand a white hole, we must first understand what it is. It is not a place that swallows light and locks it away. It is not a prison of gravity where even time kneels and bends. A white hole is the opposite. It rejects everything. You cannot fall into one. Not even light can enter. It is a one-way door, but one that only opens outward. A fountain, not a drain. A release, not a collapse. If the black hole is the cosmic inhalation, the white hole is the exhale. The idea of a white hole wasn't born from science fiction, but from the very same equations that predicted black holes in the first place. Einstein's general theory of relativity, that grand graceful description of how space bends and time flows, offers solutions that are startlingly symmetrical. For every curve in one direction, there can be a curve in the other. For every pathway where time falls inward toward a singularity, There exists a mirrored path where time pours outward, as if uncorked from some hidden dimension. The Schwarzschild solution, a precise, mathematical description of a spherical black hole, contains this symmetry. It doesn't just allow a black hole. It whispers the possibility of its reverse. It was in 1964 that the term white hole was first formalized, not as a fantasy, but as a logical consequence of Einstein's field equations. The idea is elegant. A black hole pulls space inward. A white hole pushes it outward. One ends in a singularity, a place where physics breaks down. The other begins from one interruption of matter and energy into space-time. A white hole is, in a sense, a time-reversed black hole. Not just opposite in behavior, but opposite in the flow of causality itself. And this is where the analogy becomes powerful. Imagine tossing a stone into a calm lake. Ripples spread outward and then fade. Now imagine watching the film in reverse. The ripples pull inward. The stone leaps into your hand. A black hole is like the stone falling in. A white hole is the film played backward. But here, the physics permits both. So far, we've never seen a white hole. Not clearly, not unmistakably. They remain theoretical, ghosts in the mathematics, unseen fountains in the fabric of space. Some say they may not exist at all, that their conditions are too perfect, too idealized to ever arise in nature. And yet, the equations, the same ones that predicted black holes before we had the means to detect them, do not forbid them. In fact, they seem to invite them. And in the strange symmetry of the cosmos, perhaps there is room for such reflections. Perhaps the universe does not only fold inward. Perhaps, somewhere or someone it blooms. There's a temptation when staring into the mystery of the beginning to imagine a void, a blank page, a pure silence before the first word was spoken, an absolute nothing from which all came to be. But maybe nothing is too simple, too clean, too comforting. Maybe the universe didn't come from nothing at all. Maybe it came from something ancient, something before. What if this cosmos was not a first breath, but a second? Not a creation, but a continuation? In the heart of modern physics, a quiet revolution is unfolding. It's called loop quantum gravity. An audacious attempt to marry the two great pillars of understanding: Einstein's general relativity, which governs the stars, and quantum mechanics, which whispers at the edge of particles and probabilities. Relativity says space and time are flexible, curved by mass and energy. Quantum theory says energy is grainy, uncertain, jittery. But alone, neither can explain the whole. So physicists, like poets of numbers, have sought a theory that does not split the universe in two. A theory that unifies the grand and the small, the slow sweep of galaxies and the wild dance of atoms. Loop quantum gravity is one such theory. And it does something astonishing. It removes the singularity, that infinitely dense, mathematical point at the center of black holes, and at the beginning of the Big Bang melts away. In its place, something gentler. A moment of extreme compression, yes, but not of endless collapse. Instead, a bounce, a rebound, like a heartbeat. The universe contracts, then expands, dies, then is reborn. One of the most beautiful visions of this model comes from Carlo Rovelli, a physicist who sees space not as a smooth stage, but as a woven fabric of tiny loops, a quantum geometry beneath all things. According to Rovelli, a black hole may not be a final death, but a womb. As it collapses under its own gravity, something strange happens. Quantum effects push back. Time, space, mass, they resist infinite compression. And then bounce. From the imploding star comes an outflow, a white hole, a newborn region of space-time, a fresh beginning, seeded by an ending. This leads to a breathtaking possibility, that our universe, with its billions of galaxies and silent dark energy, was once the interior of a black hole in another universe, not a singularity. Not a void, but a memory of a death. That became life. This idea is called the Big Bounce. A model that replaces the Big Bang with a cosmic rhythm. A universe collapses inward, its matter crushed, its laws twisted until it reaches a quantum limit. Then, it bounces, expands, cools, forms stars and worlds, and minds that wonder where it all began. Over eons, it too collapses again, and again, it bounces. The universe, eternal and cyclical. Like a tide. Like breath. And there's more. At the edge of this discussion stands one of the most enigmatic figures in science, Stephen Hawking. Hawking famously showed that black holes aren't eternal. They emit faint radiation, what we now call Hawking radiation. And over unimaginable timescales, they evaporate. But what remains after evaporation? Is there a remnant? Or could that final puff, that last whisper of a black hole's life, be a birth cry? A release of something new into the void? No one knows. But the idea lingers. Like an echo from the other side of time. And then, there's the symmetry. One of the strangest truths in physics is that the fundamental laws, the equations that govern motion, energy, gravity don't care about time's direction. Run the clock forward or backward, the math still works, which raises a question so large, it almost slips past us. What if the universe we know is running forward, but it came from one running in reverse? What if time flipped inside a black hole, and what came out the other side was everything? So we are left with this haunting possibility, that the death of one cosmos plants the seed of another, that endings are not ends at all but transitions, not a bang, not a silence, but a continuity we don't yet understand, a fire passed from one torch to the next, across eons, across dimensions, across mystery itself. If everything we know, galaxies, stars, even thought, once emerged from the death of a universe before ours, then we must ask, are we living inside a memory or a rebirth? Is our cosmos not a singular miracle, but one bloom? In a field of infinite blossoms, petals unfurling, falling and returning again to the soil? The science speaks in equations. But something in us hears more than numbers. It hears echoes. Old echoes. Echoes older than science. Long before humans wrote theories, they dreamed in cycles. They imagined eternity, not as a line, but a loop. In Hindu cosmology, there's the notion of kalpas, ages of the universe, vast and circular. Each kalpa begins with creation, blooms with time, and then dissolves, only to rise again, renewed, not once, not twice, but endlessly. The universe breathes, and in each breath, a new cosmos is born. They saw this not as a metaphor, but a rhythm that lives in everything. The birth of day, the death of night, the waxing moon, the falling leaf, our first breath, and our last. What the physicists now call the Big Bounce. The mystics once called the turning wheel of time. In Egyptian myth, there is the phoenix, a sacred bird, radiant and proud, that lives for 1,000 years. Then, at the appointed time, it builds its own funeral pyre. And from its own ashes, it rises again, young, burning, eternal, a symbol of life from fire. Death into resurrection. What is a white hole, if not a phoenix? What is a universe, if not flame, dust and breath, made new again? In Sufi mysticism, there is a saying, the universe began when God breathed, not a command, not a bang. A breath, a whisper of the divine across nothingness. A sigh that curved time, formed light, and sculpted the space between stars. And when that breath ends, the mystics say, it will be taken again. Inhaled, held, released once more. Could it be that this scientific model, the bounce, the white hole, the recycled cosmos, is not a challenge to spiritual thinking, but an invitation, a bridge between particle and prayer, between math and mystery? What does it mean to live in a universe with no true beginning and no final end? Does it make us smaller or more sacred? We often long for origins, we crave first causes. We want to know where it all began. Because deep down, we want to know why we are here. But what if there is no beginning? What if there is only unfolding? What if our moment is one phrase in an infinite poem, written not by accident, but by rhythm? A rhythm that shaped the stars, and also our questions about the stars. So we must ask if the universe came from a white hole. What came before that? Another black hole? Another universe? And before that? And before? And before? There is a point where questions begin to dissolve, not because they are wrong, but because the silence between them is deeper than any answer. Maybe, in that silence, we are meant to listen, not just with our minds but with our wonder. So let's not rush to conclusions. Let's sit here a moment, in the quiet. In the thought that we may be living in a cosmic cycle of life and death, decay and rebirth, that we may be the future of a universe long forgotten and the seed of one yet to come, that you, me, everything we know. May be sacred residue from another world's ending breath, and in our breath, another beginning. But science is not prophecy. It is not the business of certainty, nor comfort. It lives where questions multiply, where every answer cracks open 10 new mysteries. And in that spirit of honesty, humility, and wonder we must say this clearly. White holes are not confirmed. We have never seen one. Not a single telescope has glimpsed such a thing, spitting light instead of swallowing it. They are born not in the night sky, but in the quiet precision of equations, a consequence of math that dreams deeper than we can yet observe. Einstein's field equations are time-symmetric. If black holes can exist, then mathematically so can their mirror opposites. But mathematics is generous. It allows things the universe may never permit. Some physicists believe white holes are nothing more than elegant ghost solutions that exist on paper, but nowhere in nature, artifacts of symmetry, beautiful, but imaginary. There are other stories, other explanations for how this universe came to be, more established, more grounded though no less mysterious. One is the inflationary model. It proposes that in the smallest instant after the Big Bang, a trillionth of a second, the universe expanded faster than the speed of light. Not metaphorically. Literally. Space itself ballooned outward like a breath held too long, finally exhaled all at once. This rapid expansion smoothed out the early cosmos, explaining why the universe looks so uniform in every direction, why the night sky doesn't tilt or ripple unevenly. But even here, mystery hides behind the math. What triggered inflation? What existed before it? Inflation explains what we see, but not what lies beyond seeing. Another theory calls to us from the deep fabric of space, cosmic strings. These are not strings of matter, but of space-time itself. One-dimensional fractures left over from the early moments of creation. They may stretch across the universe like ancient scars, infinitesimally thin, yet holding mass greater than mountains. If they exist, they could bend light, warp galaxies, even tear holes between realities. But again, no observation. Just clues. Just shadows. And then there is the wildest of all possibilities, the multiverse. That this universe is just one bubble in an endless foam of other universes. Each with its own physics, its own time, its own silence. Some expanding, some collapsing, some never born at all. Maybe white holes do exist, not here, not now, but in one of those distant, unreachable realms. Maybe we live inside one. Maybe the Big Bang was not the beginning of everything, just the moment when our pocket of the infinite caught fire and began to sing. This is the nature of science at its best, not a cathedral of answers, but a sky full of questions. Each idea, white holes, inflation, cosmic strings. The multiverse is a voice in the great cosmic conversation. And science listens. It does not choose a favorite. It weighs. It tests. It waits for the sky to whisper back. We do not present the white hole theory as gospel. We do not need it to be true to feel awe at its possibility. The beauty lies not in its certainty, but in its boldness, its willingness to suggest that our universe might be part of a rhythm far older and far stranger than we have ever imagined, and that even the silence between stars has something left to say. What if the cosmos is not expanding into emptiness, but blooming into eternity? We often imagine the universe as a balloon, swelling outward into a void. But a balloon expands into something. What does the universe expand into? Nothing or everything? Space isn't stretching into black. It's unfolding into itself. Not a push outward, but a blooming inward from a seed that still whispers of origins we can't recall. Galaxies aren't fleeing a central explosion. They are riding a wave of creation still rippling outward from an event so profound, it's stitched time into existence. Every star, every atom, every heartbeat is part of that ripple. This isn't a story of distant galaxies. This is a story about us. You are not standing in the universe. You are of it. The same equations that describe collapsing stars describe the neurons in your brain. You are made of ancient hydrogen forged in a first fire we call the Big Bang. But perhaps we've been mistaken. Perhaps what we call the beginning was merely a beginning, not a singular moment, but a singular threshold. A doorway. And something walked through. The white hole hypothesis dares us to imagine a cosmos where death is never final, where endings fold into beginnings, and collapse becomes creation. Imagine a previous universe, ancient beyond our reckoning, collapsing inward under the weight of its own complexity. Not into oblivion, but into transition. A black hole forming not an endpoint, but a passage. And on the other side of that passage, a bloom. Our universe, time, space, energy, matter spat outward, not by accident, but by cosmic inheritance. The death of one universe planting the seed of the next, like a phoenix, rising not from myth, but from math. We live in a cosmos that may be cyclical, not linear. A universe of echoes, of rebounds, of rhythms older than stars. In the Hindu traditions, they speak of Kalpas, vast ages of creation and destruction, breathings of the divine across eternity. The idea is not foreign to us. It is in our stories, our dreams, our myths. The phoenix, the Ouroboros, the spiral. We sense this rhythm because we are part of it. We age. We fade, we fall, and then somehow we love again. If the Big Bang was not the first, then what are we? Are we echoes of echoes, each generation of cosmos refining itself in complexity? Was intelligence inevitable? Were stars always going to form? Were we always going to ask these questions? The laws of physics allow life. But why do they? Why should quarks form atoms that form stars that forge the elements of blood and breath? Why should the universe become aware of itself? You sitting quietly in your room, listening to these words, you are a moment the cosmos created to look back upon itself and whisper, I am. Think of a garden blooming in slow motion, its petals not made of color, but of galaxies, nebulae unfolding, like orchids. Supernova bursting like pollens of light. Time is not marching forward. It's flowering outward. We are not drifting toward darkness. We are unfolding into meaning. Not because the universe owes us purpose, but because we are capable of wondering. That is our sacred inheritance. To question, to reach, to ache for answers. We may never hold, and maybe we never will hold them, but that doesn't make the reaching less beautiful. Maybe the purpose of the universe isn't to be explained. Maybe it's to be felt. To be awed by. To be immersed in, like starlight in deep water. And if the universe truly did begin as a white hole, if it was born not from nothing, but from something else dying into light, then we are the afterglow of an ancient memory. A cosmic lantern, still burning in the great hall of time. We think we know time. We wear it on our wrists. We measure it in moments, in memories, in milestones. But time is not what it seems. It does not flow like water. It does not tick like a clock. It is not even truly linear. Time may be the most intimate illusion we live inside an arrow that feels so certain, but may be bending in ways we cannot see. What if time is not a straight road, but a mirror? What if, beyond the frame of our perception, it folds, reflects, inverts, and what if on the other side of that mirror is another universe? Not just a place with different physics, but a place where time runs in reverse, where what we call the past is someone else's future. White holes, if they exist at all, are defined by the direction of time. Black holes pull everything inward. Light, matter, space, time. White holes, in contrast, push everything out. They reject matter. They vomit time outward. Nothing can enter, only escape. In every equation, they are the perfect time opposites of black holes. A black hole consumes. A white hole expels. But if these are not just abstract opposites, if one truly leads to the other, then we are forced to ask a terrifyingly beautiful question. Where, in time, do white holes exist? Could they be embedded in a universe where time flows backward? In physics, there is an idea called CPT, symmetry charge, parity, time. The laws of physics remain the same if you flip a particle's charge, reflect it in a mirror, and reverse the flow of time. That means, in theory, there could be a mirror universe to our own where everything is backward. Left is right. Positive is negative. Future is past. In such a universe, people would grow younger. Stars would collapse into gas. Ashes would reassemble into trees. Questions would birth answers. In time would feel just as normal as it does to us. Only reversed. It's not science fiction. It's baked into the math of the universe, and perhaps white holes are doorways to that mirrored domain. What we call entropy, the tendency of things to fall apart, may flow the other way on the far side of the mirror. There, a white hole could be a beginning, not for us, but for them. A seed of light and energy spilled into a past that is, to us, a future. Does that mean somewhere across the cosmic boundary, someone else is watching their universe expand from our collapse? Does that mean we are not at the beginning, but the middle? Are we living in a cosmic palindrome, folded between two eternities? And if time is just a dimension like any other, why do we only move one way? Why does it feel like a current we cannot swim against? Perhaps because we are made of memory. We are not built to travel time. We are built to experience it. To feel the weight of loss, the beauty of change, the ache of becoming. And maybe, just maybe, time is not a straight river, but a spiraling ocean. White holes may not exist within our time. They may exist in the counter time, the echo time, and what we call the beginning may be someone else's ending, their death. Our birth, a universe collapsing into a black hole. And on the other side, a white hole explodes and we are born. We look forward. They look back, each wondering, where did we come from? This is not proof. This is possibility. And possibility is enough to make the soul tremble. Time may not be one story. It may be many, all reflected in the great cosmic mirror, each page turning toward or away from meaning, depending on which side you're reading from. And we are just one reflection in a glass too vast to comprehend, but perhaps the most human thing we can do is look into that mirror of time and ask, are we the echo? Or the origin? Are we the dreamer? Or the dreamed? And will we ever know which side of the glass we truly belong to? The stars are not just above us. They are within us. In the calcium of your bones, in the iron that flows through your blood, in the fine carbon that weaves your skin. You carry the legacy of cosmic fire. Every atom in your body was forged in the heart of a dying star. Some perhaps in a cataclysm far more exotic, in the white-hot breath of a white hole that screamed matter into being, like a reverse wound in the fabric of SPACET. I'm E. You are not separate from the universe. You are its expression, a ripple, a bloom, A voice, born from silence. We gaze out at the night sky and say, what is out there? But maybe that's the wrong question, because the universe is not merely out there, it is also in here. In our questions, in our dreams, in our longing to understand what we are made of, and why it matters at all. That maybe when we ask about the origin of the cosmos, we are not reaching outward, we are reaching inward, into the very heart of what it means to exist at all. Think of this. When we wonder where the universe came from, perhaps we are not just investigating. Perhaps we are remembering. Memory, after all, is not limited to neurons. It can be written in energy, in motion, in the symmetry of equations that shaped galaxies long before we had words. We are the children of thermodynamics, of gravity, of entropy. And if a white hole did burst forth into the void, scattering light and time like seeds into the fertile soil of space-time, then perhaps you and I are those seeds grown conscious. We are the continuation of that eruption. We are what stardust feels like when it wakes up. So the mystery of origin is not just a scientific puzzle, it is an existential mirror. We ask, what created the cosmos? But in that question lies another, what created me? Not just the physical self, but the awareness. The capacity to look at a sunset and feel something ancient stir in the soul. To hear music and think of infinity. To fall in love and feel time stand still. What mechanism of physics accounts for wonder? What particle carries awe? Where in the periodic table do you find longing? Perhaps the white hole is not just a hypothetical event. Perhaps it is a metaphor for all beginnings, for birth, for breath, for the spark that leaps across neurons when a child asks their first why. In that moment, something explodes outward from within. Just like the universe. An emergence, not an accident. An unfolding, not a fluke. Maybe the cosmos is the question. We are the mouth through which it speaks. We are its self-reflection light. Looking at light, atoms contemplating atoms, the void finding its voice in our whispered doubts and shouted dreams. This changes things. It means our curiosity is not a weakness, it's a feature of the universe. It means our stories, our science, our songs are not distractions from the cosmos. They are the cosmos, expressing itself through human minds. And it means that to ask about beginnings is not an escape from the now. It's a homecoming. The universe began once, maybe many times. Maybe it never truly began at all. But in this moment, it is beginning again in you. In the act of asking. In the mystery of being. And if a white hole did erupt once upon a time, it may not have simply birthed space and matter. It may have also planted a single, quiet seed of wonder that would one day bloom into a being that could ask, where did all this come from? And then look up at the stars, and remember, it came from us. The universe is not a machine. Machines are built. They are cold, linear, finite. They end when the parts wear out. They obey, they repeat, but this is not repetition. This is not obedience. This is something else. The cosmos does not tick like a clock. It breathes. It blossoms. Not in gears, but in petals. Not in circuits, but in seasons. The universe may not be a machine at all. It may be a garden. We often imagine the multiverse as a mathematical jungle, a chaotic branching of possibilities. But what if it's not chaos? What if it's art? What if each universe is not a statistical error, but a deliberate bloom? An unfolding of energy into structure, structure into matter, matter into consciousness. And just as flowers bloom not once, but again and again, so too may universes emerge not as isolated accidents, but as part of an eternal rhythm, a rhythm of collapse and renewal, of death and creation. Picture it. A black hole dies in one universe, its center crushed beyond time, its story compressed to silence. But from that silence, a whisper escapes. A seed is cast. And in some unfathomable elsewhere, a white hole is born. Not an end, but a beginning. A beginning that may look from within exactly like our own. Imagine the multiverse as a lotus. Not floating on water, but blooming in spacetime. Each universe is a petal opening gently, softly, timlessly. And as one petal folds, another awakens. One universe sighs into stillness, and another inhales light for the first time. There's no final petal, no last flower, only blooming. Only breath. And if that's true, then perhaps white holes are not rare. Perhaps they are everywhere. Perhaps they are not violent anomalies, but birth canals of reality. The way a star is born in a cradle of dust, maybe a universe is born in the echo of another's death, each with its own physics, its own stories, its own questions. Each filled with beings who look to the sky and wonder where it all began. Never knowing that they are part of a cosmic garden without borders or center, where nothing ends, only transforms. This changes everything. It means our universe is not alone. It means we are not alone. Even if we never touch those other petals, never see their stars, never hear their myths, we are still joined by something deeper than gravity or light. We are joined by pattern, by rhythm, by the breath of existence itself. And here, perhaps, is the most beautiful possibility of all. That meaning is not found at the edge of the universe, or in the equations that define it. Meaning is found in the act of blooming. In the unfolding of one moment into the next. In the rise of complexity, and the emergence of wonder. In the human voice, asking why. In the tears shed over beauty. In the silence that follows the question. Not the answer, but the silence. So we return to the beginning. Or perhaps to the beginning of something new. The universe may have erupted from a white hole, or from nothing, or from the end of something else. We may never know, but we can asking is sacred. The curiosity is sacred, because to ask is to participate in the bloom, to be a petal unfolding, aware of its unfolding. And so we are left with a question, not a scientific one, not a spiritual one, but a human one. One that lives not in the stars, but in the space between heartbeats. If the universe is not a machine, but a garden, if we are not cogs, but blossoms. Then tell me, where does the breath begin? And listen not for an answer, but for the stillness that follows, because sometimes the deepest truths are not spoken, they are inhaled, and the cosmos is still breathing. Why does anything exist at all? Before hydrogen, before time itself, before the breath of light shattered the silence of the void. Why? Not how, not what, but why? Why this universe? Why these laws? Why something instead of the cold, blank stillness of nothing? We often race to map the edges of what is, but we rarely sit long enough with what isn't, with the unbearable mystery that nothingness is not what we got. We received something. We are something. And that may be the most astonishing fact of all. Maybe the question isn't where the universe came from, but why we are here to ask it all. Why did the universe become capable of wonder? Why, in the vast play of particles and physics, should there be stars that write poems with their light, and creatures who gaze up at them with questions in their eyes? You, sitting under the weight of galaxies, you are a result of everything that came before. You are the music of chemistry humming in the silence between stars. Not separate from the universe, but inseparable from it. You are not a guest in this cosmos. You are its voice. We try to speak of origins, white holes, black holes, inflation, strings, cycles, but every answer opens into more questions. What lies beyond the boundary of time? What was the first cause? Was there ever truly a before? Or is time itself just a trick of perception? A veil drawn over the deeper structure of reality, one that doesn't begin or end, but simply is? Some theories speak of multiverses, of infinite beginnings scattered like seeds across a landscape we cannot touch. Others suggest reality births itself from quantum fluctuations, order from randomness, everything from nothing. But even if that were true, even if we mapped every atom back to its ancestral spark, would we be any closer to understanding why existence exists? We are good at building explanations, but we are still children when it comes to meaning. Science paints the outlines, but wonder fills them in. The equations tell us that black holes devour, and white holes, if they exist, eject. That time has an arrow, but the math doesn't care about direction. That beginnings and endings may be the same moment, seen from opposite sides of a cosmic mirror. But what no equation tells us is why those mirrors were hung in the first place, why we are here to see them shimmer. Imagine a person, just one, standing beneath the open sky, eyes tilted upward toward a sky that doesn't end. No telescope, no math, no name for the stars. Just silence. Just awe. That person is all of us. A speck blinking into awareness in a universe that stretches beyond imagination. And yet, in their smallness, there is something sacred. They are asking the question. And that alone is extraordinary. Was the universe born in light, or from the other side of gravity? A burst or a bloom? An accident or a necessity? Perhaps it was neither. Perhaps it was both. Perhaps it was something else entirely, something we have no words for yet. And maybe we never will. Maybe we were not meant to close the book on this mystery, but to keep turning its pages, forever unfinished. Maybe the purpose of the cosmos isn't to be solved. Maybe it's to be sensed, to be marveled at, to be loved. And in doing so, we give it meaning. So tonight, step outside. Let the noise fall away. Let the sky speak. Feel how the stars don't answer your questions, but they don't ignore them either. They simply shine. As they always have. As they always will. Not because they are watching us, but because they are part of us. And we are part of them. And if this whole universe was born from the other side of gravity, from a white hole flowering reality into being, then we are the light that remained. A flicker in the dark. Asking why there is anything at all. Let the question echo, and let it echo forever.